Hey everyone, I'm Lauren Conlin, and welcome to Pop Crime TV's The Outlier podcast. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you listen or leave me a review. I would love that. Today, we are going to be talking about the Oklahoma City bombing, which occurred in April of 1995. So it's been almost 30 years. And I'm really honored. I have a survivor of the Oklahoma City bombing that I interviewed, Amy Downs. She's incredible. And again, I'm honored that she was able to join me. And this is ahead of the April 2nd premiere of a new Nat Geo series. It's 3 parts, and it's called The Oklahoma City Bombing: One Day in America. And I haven't seen it yet. I got the screener. I didn't have time to watch it, but it looks so good. And I think I also have to prepare myself just for the tragedy and for a lot of the things that I may have forgotten about. I was reminded by Amy and also by the trailer, which I will play, that on the second floor of the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City was a daycare center. And a number of children died, obviously, among adults as well. Over, I believe it was 168 people that died. But yeah, it's terrible, and it was very moving to interview Amy. But just a little bit about the bombing itself. On April 19th, 1995, at 9:02 a.m., the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, was devastated by a massive explosion, marking the deadliest act of a domestic terrorist attack in U.S. history at the time. Timothy McVeigh, a 26-year-old Army vet with anti-government sentiments, he detonated a 4,800-pound bomb made of fertilizer and fuel oil packed into a rented Ryder truck parked outside of the building. The blast obliterated a third of the 9-story structure, killing 168 people. This included 19 children in the second floor daycare, as I mentioned, and it injured over 600 people in general. And among the survivors, as I mentioned, was Amy Downs, who was 28 years old at the time. She worked in a credit or at a credit union company, excuse me, and she was trapped underneath the rubble for 6 hours. She also lost 18 of her 33 coworkers, and I just can't even imagine. But the explosion, I mean, this bomb, it just sent Oklahoma City and the entire nation into chaos. First responders, firefighters, police, they raced to the scene, pulling survivors from the debris amid fears of a second bomb, which Amy reminded me about because I think I forgot about that as well. But the FBI, they launched this investigation immediately, identifying Timothy McVeigh within days. So he was arrested 90 minutes after the bombing during a traffic stop. And later they were able to uncover his accomplice, Terry Nichols. So President Bill Clinton and Oklahoma Governor Frank Keating, they led a grieving nation throughout this whole thing. And they did a really good job. I remember thinking that, and look, I mean, we all have our thoughts on politics, but Bill Clinton, he was a good president. And again, I thought he handled this very well. But McVeigh was convicted in 1997 and he was executed in 2001. And Nichols received life without parole. So again, here we are 30 years later. Nat Geo's Oklahoma City bombing: One Day in America will premiere on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025, revisiting this really dark day, but also providing inspiration. And this docuseries also shares very rare and firsthand footage that we haven't seen before. So I am going to quickly just play the trailer for this before I play my interview with Amy. All right.
The Murrah building was a melting pot. It was a cross-section of America.
That's Amy.
That morning, I sat down at my desk then everything changed.
Smoke, debris, part of the building has been blown away. We're getting reports of numerous fatalities.
Hard to believe we are looking at our own backyard.
I lay there upside down in my chair, waiting to die.
And I have to just interrupt for a minute because that was Amy again, who just said, I lay down in my chair upside down, waiting to die. I didn't realize that at first. And we get into it during the interview, but she really was trapped in darkness.
The first lady we found, she grabbed me by the collar and said, young man, there's a daycare center on the second floor. You've got to get up there and get those babies.
This was an attack on our way of life.
I wanted to scream, but you don't get to scream.
What is so evil in someone's heart that would make them do this?
We flooded the city with agents trying to find someone that looked like the artist's conception.
200 FBI agents are now involved in a massive manhunt for the bomber.
The attack on Waco had a huge impact on him.
He was calling for retaliation.
He was wanting a civil war start, and he didn't get the results he wanted.
Oh, I just get chills seeing this guy. I really, really do.
Far from it. It brought everybody together.
Okay, so you'll be able to stream that on Nat Geo, Disney, Hulu starting Wednesday, which is April 2nd. Okay, now without further ado, I'm going to play my interview with Amy Downs. And like I said, she's just so inspirational and such a lovely woman. And I will have all of her information or her website in the episode notes. Downs, thank you so much for joining me. I am so moved by your story. I have not seen the special just yet, and I do apologize because I know you have to repeat yourself so many times. But I would just love for you to take me back to the morning of April 19th, 1995. Where were you at this stage in your life as a person, as you know, as a woman, and then just kind of take me through what happened from there, if you don't mind.
Sure. I was 28 years old, and I had gone to work for a credit union in the Murrah building as a teller. I described myself as being pretty complacent. I had flunked out of college. I couldn't pass a math class. And so I was just sort of floating along in life. The morning of April 19th, it was just a beautiful spring morning. And I had gone to sit down at my desk, which was on the third floor, front and center of the Murrah building, about 20 feet from the front glass windows. And when I turned to ask a coworker what she needed, that's when the bomb went off. And I fell 3 floors. I was buried under around 10 feet of rubble. I could not move. I couldn't see anything. I did not know what had happened. I could hear all of the screaming and just the roar of the explosion, and then everything was quiet. I would scream for help. No one replied. It was about 45 minutes before I heard men's voices, and they said they were looking for the daycare babies. I worked on the third floor. There was a daycare on the second floor. I didn't understand that we were all at the bottom of what was once this 9-story building. But as they found me, they located the sound of my voice, found where I was. They then had to leave because there was a bomb scare. And so at this point, I knew it had been a bomb. I now knew there was another bomb. And I had about 45 minutes again of being alone, waiting for the second bomb to go off. And I had, what you would describe as life flashing before your eyes during that time. course, there was not a second bomb. They came back, continued to work to get me out. It took about 6.5 hours before they were able to pull me completely free from the rubble.
Can I ask you, because I'm trying to picture this, and not that it's a pretty picture or anything, but how exactly were you stuck? And I'm curious, when you see these men coming to save you, and then it makes me want to cry, because I'm thinking about how you're like, or I think I would be like, please don't leave, just don't leave me here. And they did. So I mean, what's going through your head at this point?
So I couldn't see anything. I was in my desk chair upside down under all of this rubble. So it was pitch black. I remember trying to open my eyes because I thought, are my eyes open or closed? Because I couldn't see anything. So I never saw anything until they completely pulled me out. But it was, I'm thinking when they found me, my right hand was sticking out of the side of the rubble pile, and one of them grabbed my hand. So I thought 1, 2, 3, they're going to pull me up and out like I'm free. So then when all of a sudden they started yelling, there's another bomb, everybody get out now, I realized I couldn't go. And in this documentary, it's very interesting to hear the rescuer's perspective, because I didn't know what they were facing. I just was begging them not to leave, and then they talk about their struggle of dealing with this woman who's begging, please don't leave me. And they had to leave me.
Yeah. And I guess you probably thought, if there is a second bomb, that's it.
That's it.
Are you a religious person? Did you have a relationship with God, with Jesus, where you were praying? I mean, what was going
Absolutely. on? Absolutely. I don't think I stopped praying the whole day.
Yeah.
I remember, I tried to remember a scripture, and the only thing I could remember was, though I walked through the valley of the shadow of death, and then I couldn't remember what came next. And I thought, oh no, like, I don't know what comes next, like literally, or like, but of all the weird things to do, I actually started singing a praise and worship song that we used to sing in church growing up. And that gave me comfort and peace. And I really felt like I was going to be okay.
Which song was it?
I don't know the name. I don't know if it has a name.
Okay, I won't make you sing it then.
And I always sing for you, but I only sing Amazing if I'm in my car alone, and that sounds great there, but nowhere else.
Yeah.
But I lift my voice to worship you, oh my soul. Take joy, my King, in what you hear, and let it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear is the lyrics. But
and you didn't hear anyone else around you. There was no one really around. Okay, not at all. And I know that you lost, I believe it was 18 coworkers that day. When you finally got out, how did you find this out? And also, what were your injuries, Amy?
So my leg was completely split open, but my bone was intact. So I was very fortunate. During the 8 days in the hospital, I would get calls all the time from my coworkers, families, asking, do I remember what they were wearing that day? Because they were trying to find and identify their bodies. And so it was just terrible finding out one by one of your 18 coworkers were killed. That was the hardest part, the trauma, and then dealing with all of those deaths was, very, very, very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting there thinking, why me, right? I mean, why did I live? And I'm sure you had guilt, which you shouldn't have had, but of course you did. And it's like you're rescued, but that's just the beginning. I mean, yeah. I would think that this was very tough on you, Amy, for a very long time.
Yes, it is. It's not a one day thing. It's definitely carries with you. And the survivor guilt is something that I still deal with today, quite honestly.
Yeah, I mean, and thinking about this, I always try to put it in perspective. I mean, you were trapped for 6 hours in the dark, and like you said, your leg was split open. And I mean, 6 hours, that's how long my kids are in school for. You didn't feel any pain like that? You didn't? I guess I cannot even fathom. I don't even know. It's such a hard thing to fathom, really.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I did not feel pain, so to speak, until they pulled me out. And then every nerve came alive. My body was compressed by the rubble, which was probably a good thing for the bleeding that all the rubble was packed around my leg. But when they did free me, everything came alive at that point.
Okay, right. I mean, I think that's a God thing too. I think he knew that you needed to not feel anything while you were down there. You needed to focus on your strength. And then, you're in the hospital, you're finding out about your coworkers, and also you find out that this was on purpose. This was a man. This was an act of terrorism. I mean, how did you deal with that as well, knowing that you were, involved?
I couldn't wrap my brain around it. I was in the ICU unit and the nurses were watching the news. And that's when I started seeing the pictures, the John Doe, and kind of piecing together that a person did this. And I just could not wrap my brain around an American did this. Someone who served in the military. My father was in World War II serving our country. Like I still really, it's very hard to wrap your head around.
I know when it's an American, and it's so tragic. And I actually don't think I know, but did any of the children in the daycare survive on the second floor?
Yes, there were some. I don't know the numbers, but
okay. I feel okay about that. All right. And then Amy, how did this experience sort of guide you throughout the rest of your life? I mean, I can't believe it's been 30 years.
Having that experience of life flashing before my eyes, thinking my life was over, begging God for a second chance. When I was pulled out and they put me on the back of a gurney, took me out the back of the federal building, I remember looking up at the sky, taking that first breath of fresh air and promising God, I will never live my life the same. And over the past 30 years, I have really almost become obsessed with really living my life with intention and with purpose and trying to encourage others to do the same. So it has definitely shaped my life.
Yeah. And you wrote a book as well, I saw. That's amazing. Yeah. I bet that was very therapeutic.
It was. I kept having people ask me if I had a book, and I worked on it for a lot of years. And hope kept emerging. And through this docu-series, you see that as well, this feeling of hope when you see the resilience of people who went through it, the strength of, the human spirit and the courage that these rescuers had to rush in and risk their lives to save people like me.
Yeah. And, I obviously want to get to the docuseries in a minute, but you must have been also very triggered after 9/11 as well. I mean, I can't imagine seeing something like that after what you've been through. Did that bring up a lot of feelings for you?
Oh, it absolutely did. At that point, I had been out of therapy for a few years. And when that happened, I even went back to therapy for a little while. It shook me.
Yeah, because you're like, okay, is my city next again? Like I've already done this. How the hell is this happening? Well, the docuseries, it gave me chills when I saw the trailer. I have a screener. I just realized I had a screener and I haven't seen it yet. I might wait for my kids to watch it, but it's 3 parts, I believe, an hour each, and it'll be on Nat Geo, on Disney. And I want to ask you, Amy, how do you hope that this docu-series inspires viewers, and how do you hope that you inspire the viewers?
There's a lot of different, angles or thoughts, but one thing is that for me, I feel like we all struggle with things in our lives, and at different times we can become buried under the rubble of life, things that come our way, devastation. It's not so much what happens to you, it's that old quote, not so much what happens to you, but how you choose to respond to it. And I hope that people see how Oklahoma City responded to this terrible thing and how they got through it, and whatever they are facing in their life, that they'll be able to get through it as well. That's what I hope.
Yeah. And do you think that over the last 30 years, your perspective on survival, healing, justice, do you think that it's changed since that day?
I don't know that it has. I'm sure there's been some evolution as we get older. A lot of, we continue to learn and grow. And so I'm sure maybe it has, but I can't think of anything specific.
Yeah. Do you speak to any other survivors, or do you keep in contact with them, and how has that helped you?
That is very helpful. One of my dear coworkers, who's a close friend, just even just getting that text, the time of year where we kind of struggle because it's the anniversary, checking in on each other, just knowing there's other people out there that are going through the same thing does help.
What were your feelings about Timothy McVeigh and the aftermath, and how did those feelings evolve?
That was a really difficult, really complicated, difficult thing there. I didn't really want to take part in the trial. I think I just wanted to disassociate myself from anything to do with it, but I was subpoenaed to testify in Denver, so I had to go. And it just troubled me so much to see the expression on his face, how he seemed proud of it. All of that was just hard, just very hard to deal with. But at the same time, I knew it was important to not let bitterness take over, anger. And I knew that I had to kind of rework, what does forgiveness mean? Because it doesn't mean saying something's okay, or that it's okay, it was done, but it's not letting it consume you. So I've had to do a lot of work on that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I can't imagine. It's obviously something you wanted to put behind you. You mentioned you didn't even want to really be there and testify, but I get it. You kind of have to make sure, the nail's in the coffin. And do you recall, how are the prosecutors with you as a witness and or I guess, as part of this case?
I'm blanking on the one prosecutor's name that had to grill me through my part. He was tough. He was just tough. He was very tough. I frankly did not like him.
No, I get it. I understand.
Oh my gosh. And he was doing his job, and he was wanting to make sure it was done right, But one of the prosecutors was Vicky Bahena, and she was a female, and she was from Oklahoma City, and she worked in the building next to ours. She was amazing. I loved watching her in the courtroom. She was cool.
I was literally trying to Google the prosecutor's name. I'm just curious, because they are very tough. I'm trying to see. Was it Joseph Hartzler?
I think that's who it was.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, no, I've heard this where it's like, it's tough for the prosecutors because they do have to be sensitive to people like you who have endured so much, but it's like they need to get this guy behind bars. It's so tough. And also, I'll just say it, I'll probably get some heat for this, but like, sometimes they don't understand our feelings, okay? And how to sort of gently approach certain things.
Yeah, he could have, and I say this in love, he's an amazing person, okay? But yeah, he could use some more sensitivity training.
I'm sure, yes, exactly. Trust me, so many of them could. But no, I'm so excited to see this, and to see just how so many of the people involved in that day, their strength and what they've overcome. And it looks so inspiring. So I want to thank you for your time and just for sharing your voice with all of us, Amy. Really, I want to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And just really quickly, how can people find you if they want to follow you or follow your work and get your book?
amydowns.org is probably the best way. It's got connections there.
Okay. And I'll put all of that in the episode notes. Okay. Wow. I mean, Amy is incredible. And that interview, I left it unedited, although I think some of my commentary could use some work when I'm going back and forth with someone like Amy. Something that sticks out to me, I know, sorry, this is not about me, but I did want to address just certain things that I said. I want to be real. I'm kind of like, when I asked her about certain, or I guess I had asked her about the daycare and kids surviving, if any kids survived from the second floor. And she said, yes, they did. I think I said something stupid like, okay, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Like, what? I'm okay with that? That was just silly of me. I mean, 19 children died. So I don't think anything is okay with that. I think that I could have said something a little bit gentler there. And then I don't know, the thing about the male prosecutor, Lauren, just give it a rest. Give it a rest already. But anyway, I really enjoyed Amy, and I have to just make fun of myself for a minute, of course, or else it wouldn't be my podcast, right? But no, she really is incredible, and I am so anxious to watch this doc. And I mentioned I kind of want my kids to watch it too, because I think it's important at this point. My daughter's almost 9, that she sees some of these things that happened in history, and these are just really pivotal moments for us as a country. So anyway, the doc premieres Wednesday, again, April 2nd, Hulu, Disney, Nat Geo, and Amy's information is in the episode notes. So I want to thank everyone for watching or for listening, if that's where you catch my podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe wherever you listen. I'm so grateful. And guys, stay safe, stay vigilant, and I'll be back next time.